When I first started drawing wildlife in my sketchbook, I encountered a significant challenge bringing these creatures to life on a flat page. Despite my best efforts, my sketches often felt flat and lifeless, lacking the vibe of the animals I was so eager to portray. It wasn't until I went deeper into the concept of form in art that I began to see a transformation in my drawings. In this video, we're going to talk about a few key points. And the first one is understanding form in art is transformative, turning flat sketches into dynamic, three-dimensional wildlife portraits with depth and realism. Form in the context of art and sketching is essentially about creating the illusion of three-dimensionality on a two-dimensional surface. It's the way we as artists suggest volume and depth, making the subjects of our sketches appear as though they could leap off the page. Understanding form is crucial for drawing wildlife because it allows us to capture the fullness of their bodies, the curvature of their muscles, and the intricate details that make each creature unique. This realization marked a turning point in my sketchbook journey. By focusing on form, I learned how to breathe life into my drawings, giving them a sense of weight and presence. It was a game changer, one that opened my eyes to the potential of sketching wildlife and including depth and realism in a more expressive way. Now, there's some basics of form in drawing. In the realm of drawing animals, for example, and the natural world, grasping the distinction between form and shape is foundational. Shape is two-dimensional, a flat outline or silhouette of an object. Form, on the other hand, takes shape to the next level, adding depth, volume, and the illusion of three-dimensionality. When sketching wildlife, it's form that transforms a simple outline into a vibrant living creature with mass and space. Observing the forms in nature is also crucial for understanding the structure and volume of wildlife subjects. Every animal, from elephants to butterflies, embody unique forms that define its essence. By studying these forms closely, I've learned to appreciate the complexity of their bodies, the way muscles stretch under skin, how fur patterns follow the contours of their form, and the subtle play of light and shadow that reveals their shape. This observation is more than just looking, it's about seeing the underlying forms that make up the animal's body and how they interact to create a cohesive whole. Now, gesture drawing has been instrumental in capturing the essence of form in wildlife. It's a practice that emphasizes quick, sweeping strokes to capture the movement and overall posture of animals, even humans, which are also animals. Through gesture drawing, I focus on the animal's action and energy rather than getting caught up in details. And also, complementing gesture drawing, contour lines have been a powerful tool for refining the forms of the animals I draw. By carefully drawing the outer edges and significant lines within the animal, contour lines help me define the volume and solidity of the form. It's a method that requires a delicate balance. Too little detail and the form feels incomplete. Too much and it can become stiff. Learning to use contour lines effectively has been a journey of understanding how every line contributes to the perception of form, depth, and dimension. Now let me walk you through how I draw a macaw, one of my favorite subjects. This process is all about building up from simple observations to the more intricate details that bring the bird to life. First, start with basic observations. First off, forget about drawing perfect ovals or circles. When I look at a macaw, I see a series of interconnected shapes that form its body, wings, and head. I start by lightly sketching these basic shapes, focusing on the overall posture and proportions of the bird. Is the macaw sitting, flying? Each pose will change the way these shapes interact. The second step is to refine the larger shapes. Once I have my basic shapes down, I start refining them, making adjustments to better capture the macaw's form. For example, the body might be more elongated than I first thought, or the tail feathers might be longer. This step is about tweaking those initial observations to get closer to the macaw's true form. And it's okay to be messy in this stage and just keep restating lines. These are also called thought lines. The third step is to add smaller shapes and details. Now it's time to zoom in on those smaller shapes and details. These could be the feathers, the beak, the eyes, even shadows and light create shapes. I pay close attention to how maybe the feathers layer and flow, especially how the wings and tail look. These details are what will really make the macaw start to look lifelike. Breaking down complex form into manageable components is key. Overall, here's my thought process and how I do it. I observe in sections. Instead of trying to take in the whole animal at once, I focus on one part at a time. This makes it easier to understand the form and details of that section before moving on. Also, I look for basic shapes. Every part of the macaw can be simplified into basic shapes. The head is somewhat oval. The body can be seen as a larger, elongated shape, and the tail feathers as long, maybe thin, offset rectangles. Remember, drawing animal forms or humans or even urban sketching, it takes practice and patience. Don't get discouraged if it doesn't look perfect right away or the way you want it to look. With each attempt, you'll get better at observing, simplifying, and capturing the beautiful forms of what you're drawing in your sketchbook, what you're observing. Also, light and shadow play pivotal roles in transforming flat sketches into dynamic three-dimensional artworks. They're the silent narrators of form and depth, telling stories of curvature, texture, and space that lines alone cannot convey. Here's how I approach light and shadow in my sketches to inform me in how I draw what it is I'm looking at. Light has a beautiful way of revealing the contours of a subject where it hits directly. It illuminates and defines the high points, while shadows cast by these illuminated parts help to outline the curves and recesses. In drawing a macaw, for example, observing how light falls across its feathers can highlight the form of its wings and body, making the bird appear more voluminous and tangible. Shadows, on the other hand, are not just absence of light, they're integral in showcasing depth. The dark areas suggest parts that are further away or obscured, adding a layer of realism. By varying the intensity of shadows, I can imply the distance between different parts of the animal or whatever it is I'm looking at, making the whole scene pop out on the page. To truly understand how light and shadow work, I spend a lot of time observing them in the natural world. I look at how shadows shift on certain days compared to an overcast one, or how the light at dawn casts a different mood than the light at noon. These observations help me grasp the subtleties of lighting and how it affects the perception of form. Sometimes the play of light and shadow on an animal's body provides better clues about its form than the anatomy itself. This is especially true of complex structures like the folding of wings or the way muscles bulge and recede. By focusing on these patterns of light and dark, I can often capture the essence of the form more accurately than by trying to understand every anatomical detail. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks.